Now we are going to get familiarized with error processing in Go. Go has two situations when your program does not execute as it was planned: execution errors and runtime errors. In this video, we are going to discuss the first type of errors. These kind of errors happen when some code cannot be executed as expected. Consider the next situation. You use the scanf function in order to ask the user to input the integer number from the keyboard. However, he actually can input everything he wants, basically any text string. The Go application won't know how to convert a string containing letters to an integer, so it will inform you about an error. So, an error in Go is an object of the type error. It represents a text string inside, which is made for developers to indicate that something was wrong with the code. Developers can use these objects to check if an error has happened and to process it somehow. Let's look at this more practically using the scanf function. Up to this point, we have been using the scan function without looking at the value it returns. Going forward, I would like to mention that Go functions can return any number of values they would like, and when you call a function, you must enumerate all these values as variables to store them, separated by comma. We will discuss it in depth when we will be talking about functions. Scanf is a function of such a type. It returns two values. The first is an integer number of scanned values from an input, and the second is an error that happened during function execution. If there was no error, the value defaults to nil as a default value for a pointer. Let's consider the next task. We ask the user to enter an integer number, but we must process his input in order to check if he did input an integer number or something else. Let's use a loop for it. We will execute a loop body consisting of the scanf call and error-checking if statement. If there was no error, we just break the execution. Let's run an application and test how it works by entering integer and non-integer values. As you can see, it works as planned. Now you know how to process errors. Actually, a lot of functions return errors if they can happen inside, so you have to check the documentation on functions you use to see if an error can happen. You can also create custom errors for your applications, but this touches some topics we didn't discuss yet, so we will return to the topic as the time comes. Error processing is a must for almost all applications. Errors often happen for different reasons, and one of the most popular ones is a bad user input that does not conform to your algorithms, and now you know how to deal with it. It is worth mentioning why error is returned at the second parameter for most functions in Go. The rationale is that most errors in a program should be checked and reconciled. Instead of making it a special construct, the error is just a returned value.